My cue is when he sits down, I'm supposed to, all right, fasten your seatbelts, put on your helmet. All right, game face. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Danson, and on behalf of our Commander Jeff Kelly, I would like to extend a heartfelt Post 7472 welcome to each and every one of you. And we sincerely thank you for your attendance here today in order to share in this prestigious event. Veterans of Foreign War, or VFW, was established in 1899 with the explicit purpose of tending to the rehabilitation of our nation's disabled and needy veterans, assisting veterans, widows, and orphans, and the dependents of needy or disabled veterans, and to promote Americanism by means of education and patriotism and by constructive service to local communities. VFW Post 7472 of Ellicott City, Howard County, Maryland, was established shortly after the end of World War II and planted its roots here at this location in the late 1960s in the midst of the Vietnam War. Post 7472 has continued the proud heritage of assisting veterans, their families, and the community at large since that time. And for the last 5 years, it has been designated by the VFW's national organization as an All-American crème de la crème post. And in spite of my pronunciation, I hope you realize that was French. Or at least I think it was. Our post is named in honor of two Howard County native sons who gave their lives as the ultimate sacrifice in the fight for freedom during World War II. James Yingling and Emerson Ridgely, along with their compatriots of this great nation, as well as those of our cherished and trusted allies. May they rest in peace, and may our memories of them live on forever. Now turning to today's ceremony, I would like to introduce the man who made all of this possible. Since 2014, Mr. Eric Montgomery has been visiting helping World War II veterans like Lee Sassi and being recognized by the awarding of the French Legion of Honor, some 70 men thus far. And although not a veteran himself, Eric is a kindred spirit with those of us who are veterans, having been deeply inspired by the service of his 11 great uncles, along with his stepfather, and especially his great uncle, Armand Isbour, who was killed in action on D-Day. Eric has devoted much of his adult life to promoting, honoring, and depicting the lives of World War II veterans by means of living history events held across the country. His actions reflect the core values of duty, honor, and patriotism as he works tirelessly to extend the history of World War II into this century. Please join me in offering a warm welcome to Eric Montgomery.
Thank you, everyone. And certainly the person that brought us here today is Lee Sassi. I thank you, Mike, for your kind introduction to VFW Post 7472 here in Ellicott City. Over the past few weeks, I've come to know a little bit about Mike and his service to our great country. Like most veterans that I do know, he is humble and not one to brag, but I must in Mike's case. Mike served in the United States Navy from 1969 through 2004. 35 years of service in uniform that spanned throughout 5 decades, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and into the current millennium. Coupled with his post-military service, he added 2 more decades to that list, the teens and the present decade. An amazing span that portions 7 decades of receiving a paycheck from Uncle Sam. Thank you, Mike, for not only your service, for your help in assembling this program. Appreciate you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames and messieurs, I welcome you into celebration of liberty and freedom as we pay tribute to a unique and honorable man who served our great country in peacetime in wartime and in the post-war rebuilding period. I usually begin these programs talking about young men who were still in high school in 1942 or 1943, who hadn't yet joined or were drafted into the service. But Lee's service is quite different in many respects, for his service began in 1938, and by the time our own liberty and freedom was threatened on the 7th of December 1941, he had already been in and out of the Army before reaching his 19th birthday. Over the next hour, we will honor Mr. Sassi in many different ways. We will hear testimony from his family, how his service served to inspire millions that marched behind him, just like Lee, whose future servicemen and women did the same service in our century as he did in the 20th century. We will also learn how remembering the past secures a better future for all of us. And we will also learn how his service brought peace and freedom to the oppressed peoples of France and Europe as a whole. To all in attendance and watching live across the globe, thank you for honoring Mr. Sassi and each other with your presence here today. At this time, I would ask that you please rise if you are able, place your hand over your heart, and for those in military uniform, render appropriate honors. As cadets from the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps of Alhaltentai, I'm sorry, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, Appleton, yes, High School, present the colors. Cadets.
Forward, march.
At this time, I would ask you to remain as you are as Miss Jericho Mailesti of Riverview High School, a member of the Student Partners with Veterans Club, as she performs our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. You know, I had some things in my remarks here about how to say that high school. And when I first moved to Tennessee 20 years ago, I just absolutely butchered the town name that I live in. It's Elizabethton, Tennessee. And a lot of people really have a hard time saying Elizabethton. And I wrote in my notes here, it's just like Elizabethton. It's Appleton. So it was interesting because I know when I spoke to Mike about it, and maybe Jeffrey, you, they said, I live in a little town called Elizabethton, and they couldn't say it. So it's interesting, small world, isn't it? You may have noticed in your program, Anna is part of the SPV program at River Hill High School. These young people, a club of young patriots, have embraced the veteran community with friendship, appreciation, and special projects that highlight the veteran service. The goal of the club is to raise awareness of military service, promote civic responsibility, and give youth a chance to learn from real heroes. Vivian Ra, club president, also joined us today. And Vivian, you have a special presentation you would like to Mr. Sassi, so please step forward.
Hello everyone, I'm Vivian from the River Hill Students Partner with Veterans Club, and our club members had the honor of interviewing Mr. Sassi last Sunday, and we were really enlightened by his humility, his kindness, his dedication, and all of his military service. So to honor him, we created this poster where we highlighted his military service and also highlighted unique aspects of his life, like his family photos and his favorite things. So thank you for your service.
I also want to take a moment to recognize our color guard students from Appleton High School. Got it right. Under the guidance of Lieutenant Colonel William Reinhardt, who cannot be with us here today, and Sergeant First Class Juan Giordano. The cadets there promote, and under their leadership, they promote leadership themselves, team building, discipline, decision-making, physical fitness, self-esteem, and volunteerism to best prepare these young people for their lives ahead to grow beyond themselves. I think we should all recognize these youngsters here that has done such a great job in supporting this program. Before we progress any further into our program today, I would take a moment to recall the servicemen and women who have served throughout the cause of liberty and freedom. Many came home from duty abroad with memories and experiences difficult to forget. Yet sadly, some gave much more. They rest in cemeteries across the globe. Some were never found. Friends, I'd ask you to join me in a moment of silence, remembering those who have given their last full measure towards the maintenance of peace. Thank you. And now, friends, kindly permit me the privilege to introduce our special guests and presenters of today's one-of-a-kind program. Representing the Republic of France as Consul General, Madame Caroline Monvoison. Madame Marion Morvan of the French Consulate in Washington, D.C. Mrs. Gail Sassi Conway, Miss Stacy Pierpoint, granddaughter of Mr. Sassi, Senior Enlisted Non-Commissioned Officer at Fort George G. Meade, Command Sergeant Major Richard C. Moore, Howard County Executive Dr. Calvin Ball, Miss Catherine Provost, Director of Constituent Services, representing Senator of the United States from Maryland, Senator Chris Von Holland, Mr. Ricky Powell Graves, representing Maryland's Junior Senator of the United States Senate, Senator Angela Ossobrooks, Miss Carrie Mahoney, representing Congressman Sarah K. Alfreth, Maryland's District 3, United States House of Representatives, Miss Lisa Terry, Manager, Howard County Office of Veterans and Military Families, representing Maryland's legislators, Senator Katie Fry Hester and Delegate Courtney Watson, Deputy Chief Administration Officer for Howard County, Mr. Jamar Harry, Mr. Jeffrey Kelly, VFW 7472 Post Commander, all veterans and active duty military personnel here with us today, and a very special welcome to World War II veteran Al Busey, a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge, the Battle of Remagen, and the liberation of a forced labor camp in Austria. Al, where are you? How do you do, Al? And of course, seated to my right, First Sergeant Lee Sassi. Let me introduce Gail to you. Like most post-war families, words over battles in distant places were never the focal point of much conversation, especially over Thanksgiving dinner. Life was just too busy, the love too great. With Lee's daughter, Gail, helping me develop the application for the Legion of Honor, it was clear to me that some of what was being uncovered was uncharted territory. Conversely, the uncharted territory for me was Lee's life at home after the war, his love for family, the relationship he has with his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And outside of the veteran's military history, I seldom get to hear that part of a veteran's life. So I'd like to welcome Gail and Lee's granddaughter, Stacy, to tell us all a little bit about their father and grandpa. Friends and family, please kindly welcome Gail Conway and Stacy Pierpoint.
Thank you all for coming here and helping us celebrate today with Dad. It's a pleasure to see everybody again. The ones that we haven't seen for a long time. For those who don't know me, I'm Gail. I'm the youngest daughter. My sister Phyllis, sitting in the front row next to me. I'm going to try and give you a glimpse of Dad's past. As much as Phyllis and I could remember, and a lot of what we were told. Evidently, Dad being 103 plus, evidently has a better memory than Phyllis and I put together. First, I would be remiss if I didn't say that although this wasn't planned, today is my mom's birthday. So we believe she's looking down from heaven, joining us on this special day. Happy birthday, heavenly birthday, Mom, and enjoy the ceremony. Dad was the firstborn of an Italian immigrant family who worked in the mines of Western Pennsylvania. Dad started his life in Star Junction, Pennsylvania, a small town between Pittsburgh and Uniontown. He was the oldest of 6 children, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. His 3 sisters are still with us and are very active at ages 99, Aunt Gemma, and I think Aunt Mary's 95, although she probably deny that and be very mad I even mentioned it. After finishing 8th grade, Dad realizing there was no future for him in Star Junction, enlisted in the Army at age 15. He lied about his age. Of course, they didn't check up on things then like they do now. I won't go into any more of the Army life, as that is why we are here today. Dad met Mom, Phyllis Iris Smoot, everyone called her Iris, while stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland, and the two were married September 7th, 1945, in a small ceremony in Baltimore. A little over a year later, Phyllis was born. Dad was sent to Korea and missed about 18 months of her toddler years. I didn't come along until 6 years later, and the powers to be declared no more children for them, although, looking back, I think Dad would have had a baseball team, if possible. Phyllis and my memories are basically that he worked all the time. He was a laborer plastering houses. His work was physically hard and demanding and never ending. It was also seasonal, so we remember money was tight a lot of the times in the winters. But we still had fun. He made a sled out of the washing machine top for us to use on a hillside to slide down in the snow. Or we would pile 4 high on a sled and ride down our country road when the snow was so deep the cars couldn't travel. Since Dad only fried eggs and cooked hot dogs, to this day, Dad used to take Phyllis and me out to dinner while Mom worked. Then we would come back to the house so we could play and dance to the big band music until bedtime. He loved to dance and he loved his big band music. Our vacations were always close to home on the Magothy River at Harold Harbor Beach. He was able to join us in the evenings and the weekends after work there. He always worked when there was work to be done. We played ping pong in our yard and played lots of baseball. The neighbors' boys, when I was growing up, the neighbor boys used to knock on the door and ask if Dad could come out to play. Mom and Dad loved to dance and went out dancing every month. He was active in church. He was an avid duck pin bowler. He started fishing and camping in later years, always going to Point Lookout in Chincoteague, Virginia, whenever they could. There is so much more that I could tell you, but I will end with some random thoughts that we remember. While Dad was serving in Europe, he told us that he got a leave passed in Paris, France, to go see Glenn Miller and his orchestra play, his favorite big band. He never saw him play, though. It wasn't until the next day that he found out Glenn Miller went down with his plane trying to get to Paris. Dad has every original Glenn Miller album and still listens to the big band music today. Dad played baseball on local teams in the late 40s and the early 50s and was evidently a pretty good pitcher. He tells us of the story of pitching to Al Kaline, who was later drafted by the Detroit Tigers. He said it was a guaranteed home run no matter what he did. I think everyone already knows that Dad's love for the Orioles. Dad has every Oriole baseball card since their inception in 1954. They're in pristine albums and he's still collecting. Topps honored him with his very own baseball card on his 101st birthday. That was the day his dream of being on the Orioles field and throwing out the first pitch of the Orioles game came to life. He still can't believe it. Phyllis recalls Dad always rescuing her from multiple flat tires late at night and in the pouring rain, but he never complained. Dad was always ready and willing to help anyone who needed it, no matter what it was or when it was. He even walked a couple miles through chest-high snowdrifts in a blizzard to get antibiotics for someone. He stayed in his old 3-story house on 4 acres, taking care of all the lawn and the shrubs until he was 99, seldom asking for any help and accepting no help from anyone. The 100-degree humid weather never bothered him. Neighbors would stop to tell me Dad shouldn't be out there working in that 100-degree weather, and my response would be, you go and tell them. See how that works out. I could go on and on about Dad, but I must save time for Stacy to give the grandkids side of Grandpa. Dad, you are an amazing man. Father, grandfather, great-grandfather. We are so lucky to have you, know you, and be loved by you. We are so proud of you.
Thank you all for this chance to honor Lee, or as we know him, Grandpa, or Pop, or G-Pop, as the great-grandkids call him. My name is Stacy, and I'm one of Lee's grandchildren, and I'm sharing some thoughts on behalf of all the grandkids who are scattered throughout the audience today, and JD here on the side. One of my earlier memories of Grandpa is of him sitting on the front porch of SeaTac Inn in Chincoteague, Virginia, after dark with my younger brother Mike sitting on his lap. They would watch the lighthouse across the channel and repeat zoom, zoom, zoom as the light flashed around again and again. And in that memory, I think of how Grandpa has been our familial lighthouse, always present, ready to help anyone in need, a bright light to guide the way. Grandpa is stoic, he's firm, quiet, supportive, and hardworking. He's also kind, funny, fun, loving, and one heck of a card player. It's almost impossible to tell if he dislikes something or feels any pain or discomfort. He receives family and friends with warmth and gratitude, and he gives his time and energy freely. And his attention focuses on whomever enters the room. He wants to know how everyone else is doing first, what they've been up to. Our memories are rich. He has shared so much with us as kids and adults. He took JD and Brian on bike rides and to the bleacher seats at Memorial Stadium. He played games with us like badminton and lawn darts, the old school dangerous kind of darts, even punching a hole in his old camper. There were endless softball games with us at parties hosted in their front lawn. He would pull out all of his and Grandma's bows and arrows for us to shoot so our fingers were raw. And we played hand after hand of Shanghai rummy at the kitchen table. On hot summer days, he'd help Steph and I dig out the creek that runs through the yard, removing any dislodged snakes so that we can make a deeper swimming hole to cool off in. And he was always up for a long walk. He shared his collections with us, especially stamps and baseball cards. He can spend hours poring over his Orioles collection in the basement, and instilled that love in collecting cards and Mike. We enjoyed quiet hours of fishing with him, first whiffs and sips of beer on hot summer days, late night TV with the Molly Bee vocal party. And no matter how dirty he got working in the yard or the shed, he cleaned up nicely in the basement bathroom before heading out to Saturday evening mass, no matter what else was going on. He encouraged us to work hard and showed us what that meant with 6-cord piles of firewood cut, split, stacked, and moved by hand every year. Judy and Brian would sometimes help, taking breaks to have fun, cutting wild grapevines so they could swing around the woods like Tarzan, vines which Grandpa enjoyed testing first for safety. He taught us about canning vegetables and gardening and has been a heavy influence in our ice cream and snowball consumption. And he was always by Grandma's side, helping clean up after her baking, running out the road for something she needed, even if he had just gotten back from an earlier errand, and he was steadfast at her side through her illness. There wasn't much that Grandpa complained about to us kids. His patience was endless. If there was ever a complaint or criticism, it came out as a sigh while teaching us how to demote a flounder. And get something right, he'd respond with a drawn-out, "There you go." He's a storyteller, sharing memories and photos of life with Grandma, letters written in Italian from his father, and stories about growing up in the Depression and making burlap and straw baseball gloves. Grandpa never really talked much about his military service while we were growing up. Bits and pieces would trickle in from time to time. But the last 3 years have revealed an amazing amount of what he's experienced and lived through. Grandpa, you set the bar so high for how to be a decent human being and continue to be a true foundation, example, and influence for all of us. You would always joke, "I'm a rose between two thorns," and the part of you being a rose is completely true. We are so grateful for you, and we're better people to have shared this life with you. I'll end on my cousin JD's words, this is JD over here, which sums things up perfectly. He shared, "I always tell everyone I know, they don't make people that tough anymore, but it's so much more than that." And I'm so glad that we've all been able to witness such an extraordinary selfless service to family, God, and country. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate your life.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Stacy. That was just beautiful. Thank you. I learned a lot. And, you know, it's like I said, it's hard to get so in depth when you're worried about the military service and chronicling that. So I think your grandpa's a lot like my grandpa. Thank you. Crucial and vital to any command structure, whether it be in a military environment or in the private sector, is a person with the most versatility. That usually falls to someone with the most experience, the most to offer to those just starting out, and the one that has the wherewithal to be the bridge between the top executive staff and those who wear the rubber that meets the road. In the United States Army, that task falls to the Command Sergeant Major. The Command Sergeant Major acts as the senior enlisted advisor to the commanding officer. They provide guidance on matters which affect the entire enlisted personnel, and oftentimes are called upon to mentor enlisted soldiers to ensure their welfare and development, all of which is usually accomplished in what is an ever-increasing rapid response atmosphere. At Fort Meade, a base which is home to over 18,000 military personnel, 3,500 of which are active duty Army personnel, I would guess that one would have to have broad shoulders, a thick hide, be able to think fast, and do it all with a smile. Now I can go on half the afternoon talking about where this man has gone and what he has accomplished. Let's just say I would have an easier time saying where he hasn't been and what he hasn't done. His awards and decorations speak to this. They include the Bronze Star Medal, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaves, Joint Services Commendation Medal, the Army Commendation Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters, the Army Achievement Medal with 6, the Iraq and Afghanistan Campaign Medals, the Armed Forces Service Medal, a Gold Recruiter Badge with 3 sapphires, and a Master Parachutist, Air Assault, and Free Fall badges. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce you today our keynote speaker from our nation's premier platform for intelligence, information, and cyber operations for George G. Meade. Please welcome Command Sergeant Major Richard C. Moore.
Well, if you want to make a soldier uncomfortable, you put him up on the front of the stage and you show him some recognition. I've only been intimidated twice in my life. First when my wife showed me a pregnancy test. And the second is finding out I get to talk before Dr. Ball. So here we go. Hopefully I can live up to some great expectations. First thing I want to do is read a poem. It's called One Life. And this really touched me. It's by Robert Longley. Those of us in uniform, a family doesn't make. Part is our commitment and the oath that we take. Each of us has families, parents, kids, wives. These are what we fight for and for which we give our lives. Most don't understand it until they hear it true, and then there is no undoing the actions we must do. It's there we find commitment to do what we must and each day embrace the sunrise and not fear the setting sun. I'm glad I wrote some stuff down, because if I didn't, I'd be super intimidated right now. I'm just going to be honest. To have the ability to speak today, Eric, I appreciate it greatly, and there was no doubt I was going to miss this for anything. America's sons and daughters have been outnumbered, out-trained, and out-equipped since the American Revolution. But we have, and continue to have, something no other country has, and that's the best leaders a country could ever ask for. It's something that is not tangible. The belief for free life and the pursuit of happiness in a little document called the Constitution. I have the honor today to talk about an amazing profession less than 1% of this great countrymen get to take part of. The armed service profession is one that dates back to 1775, 250 years this year for the U.S., and 1445 for our friends in France. Each country has its fair share of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country's flag, especially during World War II, the war to end all wars. The French lost an estimated 2 million citizens in Indo-France and another 600,000 in France proper. The U.S. lost a total of 420,000 military and civilians paid the ultimate sacrifice for stability and freedom. The ability for the 5 original Allied countries to come together against a common enemy and identifying an evil sweeping the European continent was enabled and enhanced through the common soldier. Our ability and willingness to fight and put it all on the line for the common cause to disrupt, deter, and defeat the Axis powers. Soldiers like Lee provided the will, determination, and willingness to step up and answer the call to travel to a foreign land, execute what was demanded and required of him to defeat the inhumane ideology taking place in Europe, North Africa, and Asia. Lee was just an American citizen, just like every other 3 million service members during World War II. The internal fire for justice and a love for God and country is what makes countrymen like Lee stand just a little taller, walk a little prouder, speak a little louder, and respond just a little more profound. Which leads him to be as historically recognized for his distinctive and distinguished accomplishments. Fact is, there's a Lee in every town, city, state, and VFW across America and throughout France. They, however, don't tell their stories for what they have accomplished, but they tell the stories of those who encouraged, led, rose to a level needed at a time to ensure their fellow comrades to their left and right were competent, capable, and cared for. This is the story every Lee tells because their acts were only in support of something greater than themselves and nothing more in their eyes. Honestly, I think that's all of us really want, is to be drawn together for something of a greater cause, to a group, community, or congregation. A volunteer doesn't aid and assist for much more than a smile and internal gratitude. Like Lee receiving either one of these brings joy to his heart, warmth in our souls, and meaning to our lives. It is humbling to be able to stand on the same ground as a decorated veteran from the 6th Armored Division, 44th Battalion. First Sergeant Sassi is truly a soldier. Just having the honor and privilege to be part of this ceremony, as he will be awarded a more than earned French Legion of Honor. I had no idea that the French Legion of Honor is the highest decoration in the France armoire. As established in 1802 by Napoleon Bonaparte himself to recognize outstanding service to the French, both military and civilian. This small but epic achievement highlights only a minor percentage of the impact of this phenomenal leader had to the global conflict. If you think about it, an armored officer, an armored infantryman, on a platform not yet tested, in an unknown environment, against an adversary who had held every advantage, except one, the non-commissioned officer. A first sergeant, in particular, with a well-trained organization and a cause to go further, faster, and harder to ensure pure dominance. It wasn't one soldier, sailor, airman, marine, or coastie. It was the combined effort of all, and the European allies that enabled good to conquer evil. If we could, please give a round of applause to the Sassi family. I am truly honored and humbled to be part of this ceremony today. It is without a doubt one of the highlights of my life, and I am beyond grateful to have this opportunity. So thank you and all you do.
Not every day a corporal can order around a senior enlisted. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker, I don't think there's anyone in this room who doesn't know who this gentleman is. Everywhere I go and talk about this guy, they all have great things to say about you. Doesn't matter if you're on the left side of the aisle, the right-hand side of the aisle, and from a small town in northeast Tennessee, we could probably learn a few things. Our next speaker, Dr. Calvin Ball, has served as the elected head of the executive branch of Howard County government since 2018. His service to the citizens of this community of 340,000 began in 2006 when he was elected as the youngest council chairperson in Howard County history. With experience gained while serving within the council, he made history again in 2018 by becoming the first African American to be elected as Howard County's executive. Down where I'm from, we call it mayor. During the first term, he envisioned and put into action dynamic changes. In reading through some of those initiatives, I would assess that his focus on education, fostering a robust business environment, promoting health and welfare of its citizens, and leading an efficient and reliable government were successful, where he was re-elected again for a 4-year term in 2022. But I can't think of a situation more challenging for any public official than to lead a community through a global pandemic. Outside of those initiatives and challenges, Dr. Ball is a strong advocate in promoting programs with Howard County's vast military community. With many former servicemen and women choosing to reside in Howard County following their service, thousands have found civilian jobs within Fort Meade and surrounding businesses that support base operations. A son of a Vietnam-era veteran, he knows and understands the needs of the individual veteran. And with the most recent groundbreaking of the Howard County Veterans and Military Families Monument, recognizes the importance of remembering all those that serve, both in the home and on the front line. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Dr. Calvin Ball.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's quite an honor to be here with you today. I want us to just take a moment and reflect upon the time and place in which we find ourselves together. The day after Thanksgiving, a time when we embrace gratitude, appreciation, and family. And sometimes, in fact, many times people focus on Thanksgiving Day and then forget to embrace those same values each and every day. And during this time, we're still embracing those values. We find ourselves not only in Howard County, but at this wonderful VFW, a place where not only do we honor those for their service, their sacrifice, their patriotism, but we come together from all walks of life in unity and really exemplify the American spirit. This morning, I took a little bit of a break from being county executive, and I spent some time with my oldest daughter. And we watched Captain America. And I started thinking that some of the highest grossing films ever were movies like The Avengers, Star Wars, Spider-Man, because we embrace heroes. And each and every day, our veterans are the embodiment of our heroes. Those like Lee Sassi, who have not only given of themselves to build a foundation upon which all of us can aspire and become our very best selves. But when I think about Lee, I think about my grandfather, who too served in Korea and was a World War II veteran. The first Calvin, I happen to be Calvin III. He was the one who we all try to live up to in our name. I think about my dad, as you heard, a Vietnam era veteran, and my first hero and my best friend. And I think about each and every one of the heroes like Lee, who not only impacted our country, allowed there to be the freedom and the patriotism for a county executive ball to serve, but as you heard from his daughter and granddaughter, someone who impacted community and lives so far-reaching that we can even imagine. Being here today is an honor. As you heard, I was re-elected in 2022. I'm term limited. I don't plan on running for any other offices, which means I only have to go to the things that I want to go to. And on the day after Thanksgiving, at this VFW, with each and every one of you, this time, this place, this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be here to honor Lee for 103 years of making our country and our world a better place. I wanted to be here to honor each and every one of our veterans in whom I see my father and my grandfather each time that I try to make your lives and your legacy always be acknowledged and celebrated. And so I wanted to come here today to thank Lee personally, to thank the family, because there's a reason why Lisa Terry, who is known and respected throughout our entire region, works for the Office of Veterans and Military Families, because we acknowledge and we thank the families for your support, for your love, for your sacrifice, and we know it is a sacrifice. So thank you so much. Thank you to Lee. Thank you to the family. Thank you for everyone who was here today and who has always put on the uniform and shown up and ran in when others run out. God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. I am humbled to once again have the privilege of introducing Consul General Monvoison to a gathering of family and friends assembled here to honor a two-nation hero. Quite new to the embassy staff, when we first met in September of 2023, Consul General Monvoison has bestowed the French Legion of Honor to several candidates, of which I've had the honor to assist. a native of Fort de France in the French territorial island of Martinique. She was assigned to the French consulate in Washington, D.C. in September of 2023. And in that role, she has overseen the relationship between France and the United States, and in particular, the states of Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, and of course, the District of Columbia. An accomplished diplomat, Consul General Monvoison began her career with the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs in 2005. And since that time, she has served in various roles in the Department of French Nationals Abroad and Consular Administration, and then as part of the Department of Strategic Affairs, Security and Disarmament, then joined the European Union Directorate as head of the Franco-German mission. From 2016 to 2020, she was the counselor at France's permanent representation to the European Union in Brussels, Belgium, in charge of France's representation in all European institutions. From 2020, she returned to the consular field as project manager, specializing in the implementation of e-voting for consular elections in 2021 and legislative elections in 2022. And to her more recent assignment as Consul General in Washington, D.C., she served as a policy officer for the director of the Department of French Nationals Abroad and Consular Administration of France. A graduate of Rennes Institute of Political Science, as part of her studies abroad, she spent a year in Colorado Springs as an exchange student. Mesdames et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my privilege to welcome to Ellicott City and VFW Post 7472, the Consul General of France in Washington, D.C., Governor Monvoison.
Thank you very much. First Sergeant Sassi, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Do you hear me? Yes, okay. Sergeant Sassi, we are gathered here today to present you with the Legion of Honor, France's highest decoration, as an expression of our heartfelt gratitude for your service during World War II. For more than 2 centuries now, this distinction has honored individuals who have rendered extraordinary services to France. We are awarding it to you in recognition of your bravery and determination on the battlefield at the heart of one of the deadliest and most crucial conflicts in our history. France will never forget the sacrifice made by American soldiers who fought to defend freedom and democracy in Europe. And today, with war having returned to the European continent, remembering what your generation accomplished is more vital than ever. It reminds us of the price of freedom, the fragility of our democracy, and our shared responsibility to make sure that history does not repeat itself. Your own path was extraordinary. You enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1938, driven by a sense of duty and a spirit of adventure. When the United States entered the war, you re-enlisted in 1942 and joined the 44th Armored Infantry Battalion of the 6th Armored Division, a unit that would soon distinguish itself on the battlefield. In July 1944, you landed on Utah Beach, Normandy, and your division liberated the towns of Coutances, L'Essai, Réal, and Granville, among others. In an incredible show of courage and determination, you and your fellow soldiers broke through enemy lines and liberated thousands of civilians who to this day have never forgotten the arrival of the American soldiers who came to their aid. Your unit then advanced toward Brest, the strategic port that was fiercely defended. The fighting was intense, but your division played a critical role surrounding the city and bringing about its surrounding. After Brittany, you moved eastward through Nancy and the Rhineland, where you met with harsh resistance. And then came the Battle of the Bulge, one of the most brutal of the war. In December 1944, when the German forces launched their last major offensive, your division was rushed to Bastogne under the orders of General Patton. In freezing weather and under a constant threat, you fought to break the siege and rescue the encircled American troops. Your resolve helped change the course of the war. In the spring 1945, you took part in the Allied advance into Germany and the liberation of Frankfurt and Weimar. On April 11, 1945, your unit arrived at the Buchenwald concentration camp, where you discovered the unspeakable. Thousands of prisoners who were finally liberated from Nazi oppression. That episode remains one of the most powerful symbols of the values you fought for: freedom, justice, and humanity. The next day, you were seriously wounded near the Elbe, but you had already done your part to change the course of the war. First Sergeant Sassi, Sassi, your bravery continues to inspire us. You risked your life for a country that wasn't your own, and France has never forgotten it. We owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. Meeting you today and presenting you with this decoration is a deep honor. Your example will continue to guide future generations and to strengthen the enduring tie between France and the United States. I will now officially bestow upon you the insignia of the Legion of Honor, speaking the traditional phrase in French that translates as follows. On behalf of the President of the Republic, we hereby present you with the insignia of Knight of the National Order of the Legion of Honor. Sassi, au nom du Président de la République, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier de la Légion d'honneur.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we celebrate and commemorate our near 250 years of friendship between the United States and Republic of France. Please rise as you are. Thank you. Somebody wrote these words. And follow the lyrics on the back of your program as we hear the national anthem of France, La Marseillaise. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Congratulations, Sir Sassi. As a member of Chris Van Hollen's team, Catherine Provost has served the people of Maryland for the past 12 years. Having begun her time with the senator when he was just Congressman Van Hollen in 2013, she oversees the senator's state team and assists constituents with individual matters as it pertains to federal agencies. The granddaughter of two World War II veterans, she is proud of Senator Van Hollen's team's efforts to ensure VA benefits are available for veterans all around the state. Friends, please kindly welcome Ms. Catherine Provost.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon. It is my great honor to join you today on behalf of Senator Chris Van Hollen to share in our celebration of Sir Lee Sassi. Senator Van Hollen apologizes that he cannot be here himself today and appreciates the opportunity to send a representative. We gathered today to pay tribute to an extraordinary American patriot, Lee Sassi, as he receives the Legion of Honor, France's highest honor. This distinction reflects not only France's gratitude, but the deep appreciation of all of us who cherish the freedoms preserved by Lee and the fellow members of the greatest generation. Lee's story reminds us why this honor carries such weight. As a young man, I have written here by the senator's speechwriter, barely out of high school, but I understand that perhaps that might not have been the case. He answered the call of duty and served with distinction in the European theater. He was part of the great effort that helped liberate towns and villages across France, places where families still pass down the memory of American soldiers who arrived not as conquerors, but as defenders of hope and democracy. These shouldered the dangers of war with quiet courage, perseverance, and an unshakable belief in the values at the heart of our shared transatlantic bond. Like many others here today that you've heard speak already, for me, this history is deeply personal. In my Senate office, I keep my grandmother's World War II Army trunk. I'm named after her. And every day, it reminds me of the sacrifices made by her and Lee's generation. The bravery, the hardship, and the unwavering sense of duty that protected our countries and shaped the world we live in today. It reminds me that the freedoms we enjoy were secured by individuals who stepped forward, just as Lee did, often at great personal cost. Lee Sassi embodies the very best of that generation. His service helped pave the way for the enduring friendship between our nations and ensured that the ideals of democracy and human dignity would prevail against tyranny. Today we honor not just his service, but the legacy that he carries and the example he continues to set for all of us. Lee, on behalf of Senator Van Hollen, a grateful state, a grateful nation, and our friends in France, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition, and thank you for your extraordinary service. I carry with me a senatorial citation from Senator Van Hollen that I would like to present to you.
Thank you. All the citations will be displayed in the back of the room next to the Christmas tree. Merry Christmas. Regrettably, United States Senator Angela Ossenbrooks could not attend today. And however, I am pleased to introduce Ricky Powell-Graves, who is part of our staff in Washington. A relative looking on the senator's staff, he has worked with Senator Dick Durbin and D.C. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. here to present a citation on behalf of Senator Elsa Brooks to Sir Sassi. Please kindly welcome Mr. Ricky Powell Graveston.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to reiterate as well a apology that Senator Angela Alsbrooks could not be here on this beautiful afternoon. But here as her staffer, I would love to congratulate First Sergeant Sir Sassi. As we're here for this amazing event and to celebrate an extraordinary man, I would like to reiterate the words from Senator Angela Alsbrooks and the office. Dear friends, it is with great admiration that I extend a heartfelt congratulations to First Sergeant V. Sassi on your appointment as a Chevalier of the Ordre National de Legion d'Honneur by the Republic of France. This extraordinary honor recognizes your remarkable courage and your indispensable role in the liberation of France during World War II. Your extraordinary military record stands as a testament to a lifetime of valor, from enlisting at just 15 years old, re-entering service following America's entry into World War II, to leading a squad in the 44th Armored Infantry Battalion across many different nations. Your steadfast commitment to freedom changed the course of history. You went on to serve in Japan, Korea, and in President Truman's Honor Guard, which speaks to a lifetime of devotion. Equally enduring is the life you built with your beloved wife of 65 years. That is truly, truly amazing. I am confident that your family's love and strength are woven into your legacy, and today they share in France's profound gratitude. On behalf of the great state of Maryland, I am proud to recognize an exceptional man. I offer my deepest admiration and warmest congratulations. Your leadership, courage, and the freedom you helped secure will be remembered by us all for generations. With respect and gratitude from Senator Angela Alsbrooks.
Thank you, Ricky. I really enjoyed getting to know Ricky on the telephone. I was on my way from Florida to back home to Tennessee, and we spent about an hour and a half talking about World War II, and I know it's probably the most he's ever talked to anybody about World War II. But he's learned a lot in the several conversations that we've had together that we've reflected in the way that he conveyed Senator Alsbrooks' message today. So thank you. Anyone seen Kara? Oh, hi, Kara. I had a seat right up here for you. So you are here. Good. Unfortunately, Congressman Sarah Alfred also could not be here today, but yet Ms. Kara Mahoney, who has been part of her staff since her successful bid for the United States Congress, has kindly joined us here today. As one of the Congresswoman's Field representatives, Kira aids the Congresswoman in identifying issues of importance affecting residents across Maryland's 3rd Congressional District. So, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Ms. Kira Mahoney.
Everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. My name is Kira Mahoney, and I'm with the Office of Congresswoman Sarah Alfred, who has the privilege of representing all of Howard County in Congress, and especially beautiful Ellicott City. Though the Congresswoman cannot be here today, we actually had the privilege of being here at this VFW last September for the 125th birthday of the VFW, where we got to meet First Sergeant Sassi and just had a really lovely tour of this facility. So I just feel so honored to be here, back here today on her behalf to present the citation. First, we have a note from the Congresswoman. Dear First Sergeant Leggio J. Sassi, it is my honor to extend to you my congratulations for being awarded the distinguished French Legion d'Honneur. Your story of service is nothing short of remarkable, and it is with deep gratitude that I recognize the courage, commitment, and patriotism that has defined your life. On behalf of a grateful nation, state, and community, I thank you for your extraordinary service. Sincerely, Sarah Alfred. We also have the certificate of congressional recognition presented to First Sergeant, now Sir, Leggio J. Sassi, in honor of his lifetime of service, marked by his bravery, leadership, and sacrifice across 5 World War II campaigns. This faithful commitment to freedom, fighting from Normandy to Ardennes and into Germany and beyond, has earned him the distinguished French Legion d'Honneur, and for those efforts we are deeply grateful. Sarah Alfred, Member of Congress, on this day, 28th of November, 2025. On behalf of all of us in Washington, thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Karen. Regrettably, State Senator Katie Hester and our State Delegate Courtney Watson could be with us here today. It must be a holiday. But representing those honorable legislators, I'm happy to introduce, that many of you know her, Lisa Terry, who will be presenting a combined citation to Sir Lee. As many of you know, Lisa Terry serves as the manager of Howard County's Office for Veterans and Military Families. And within that role and beyond, she has been instrumental in providing guidance to veterans and military families throughout Howard County. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Lisa Terry.
I'm very honored to be here today. Before I give a citation, my mother-in-law happens to reside at Lighthouse Senior Living, where Dean Sassi lives, and I didn't know him about a year ago. I ran there on my lunch break to visit her, and I see my veteran VFW friends in the lobby, and I said, "What are you guys doing here?" And I said, "Oh, we're meeting 102 World War II veterans." And I'm like, I'm actually on duty, so I'm staying. So I got to stay and meet with him. I got one of your baseball cards. Thank you so much. I got to watch you and Al talk about the Battle of the Bulge like it was yesterday. I couldn't remember what I had for breakfast, and you guys were going on about all these details. I was just in awe. I was so amazed. So I see him in the hall every now and then at Lighthouse too, which is kind of cool. And he's got his Orioles hat on, and I'm looking at him. So I think that's a really special connection. I also, it made me think about Normandy. I visited Normandy about 23 years ago, the day before Veterans Day. George Bush was coming into town, and it was like, kind of everything was very secure. And the Airbnb that we were staying at, the host came out with the American flag sweater and flags, and they were about to put flags on all the American graves in Normandy. And it really touched me because they were just so gracious and grateful to us as Americans. And my husband's a veteran, but he clearly not served in World War II. And I just was so touched about how proud and thankful and generous they were to Americans. So that really made me think about that today when you were up here. On behalf of the, excuse me, I'm a little choked up. The Howard County Commission for Veterans and Military Families, I'm going to present you with our challenge coin. Many of you know what that is. I'm in the military. And then also a special red, white, and blue scarf made by a member of our community. So you can wear that when it gets cold. And we're sitting outside at Lighthouse. I'll do that. And a coin. And then I have the citations from, it's from the Maryland General Assembly, from Katie Fry Hester and Delegate Courtney Watson, congratulating you here today. That's a special citation. unveiling the Howard County Veterans and Military Families Monument. I am a founding board member of the Howard County Veterans Foundation. It is a labor of love. We've raised a lot of money thanks to our county executive and county administration, the state, lots of veterans, individuals from our community and local businesses, to the tune of $3 million over 10 years. So we will be so grateful we can unveil that to you. So I hope that you can join us this spring. Thank you so much.
I want to thank and recognize Lisa for all her help. She was able to use her influence in making sure that everybody has a program. So thank you, Lisa, for that. We've shared several emails back and forth and several conversations, so I appreciate your friendship and willingness to help. Thank you, as we honor you. Consul, we have two more documents to give to Mr. Sassi. One from the governor of the state of Maryland. I would like to reintroduce and re-invite Command Sergeant Major Moore to return to the podium and present on behalf of the governor of the state of Maryland, the Honorable Wes Moore, and the citizens of the state of Maryland, a letter of recognition celebrating our newly presented Chevalier. For those that might not be aware, Governor Moore served in the 82nd Airborne Division, quite famous from his role in Normandy in World War II and beyond, and while being deployed to Afghanistan as well. He was honorably discharged as a captain in 2014. I did not know that about the governor until just a few days ago. So, Command Sergeant Major, the honor is yours.
Again, Lee, on behalf of the governor, let it be known, because of your demonstration of high integrity and ability, meriting our greatest trust and respect, we are most pleased to award you the governor's citation.
Thank you, Master Sergeant Major Moore. Before I turn the microphone back over to the Consul General for the diploma, which also accompanies the Legion of Honor. Several years ago, I ran across a postcard on eBay, and it was about the Normandy invasion. It was produced by the Postal Service in 1994 for the 50th anniversary of D-Day. And I have a lot of creative ideas in my head, none of them any good, but this particular sand table, I've enhanced it, brought it back to life, fixed every piece of it, corner, drilled it, cut it, went and got the sand from all the Normandy beaches, and added to this sand table. Of course, we already know that Lee came ashore in mid-July on Utah Beach. And so in each one of these vials, is have Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword. And this sand was collected on the days around the 80th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, just a few years ago. So I would like to present this to Lee. The stamp is a 29-cent stamp. It shows the troops in Bastogne freezing, about to be liberated by the 6th Armored Division. So Lee, on behalf of your reaching 100 years and receipt of the French Legion of Honor, and that's the qualifications to get one of these, I'd like to proudly present this to you. Your medical. I need to design this, I think, because it is extremely hard to stay where it needs to stay. Looking good now, brother. Thank you. And our last document here we'd like to bestow before I have my concluding remarks is from the French government itself. It is a diploma that comes directly from the highest of all government authorities in France, President Macron. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dr. Ball, I apologize. Oops. I'm sorry, Dr. Ball. Every program has a little hiccup now. Yes, absolutely. Dr. Ball would also like to have a proclamation given to me today. And I am so apologize to you, Dr. Ball, that it's been a lot of moving parts. So thank you, Dr. Ball, please return.
I think I talked a little too long the last time. I have two things. One, a challenge coin. This also reflects when someone stands and meets the challenge. So congratulations, Lee. And I have an executive proclamation. And it reads, whereas World War II veteran Leggio J. Sassi served in the U.S. Army during 3 enlistments between 1938 and 1948, the Pennsylvania native embarked on a remarkable and courageous journey, taking him first to Hawaii for basic training, and then leading to a harrowing journey across France and into Germany during World War II, followed by occupation duty in Japan and Korea after the war ended. Whereas from Normandy to northern France and the Rhineland campaign to Belgium for the Battle of the Bulge, Mr. Sassi demonstrated a courage and commitment to not only serving his country, but protecting the interests and liberty of the French people who he encountered on his march to Germany. And whereas to honor tremendous contributions to France, Napoleon Bonaparte created l'Ordre National de Légion d'Honneur 2 centuries ago, and it remains the highest distinction bestowed by the French government to all heroes who fought for freedom and peace. And whereas Howard County government proudly joins the esteemed French Consul General to thank and honor our neighbor, Mr. Sassi, who served in our armed forces overseas and at our local Fort Meade for his support of France and its liberty. We congratulate him on his well-deserved honor. Now, therefore, I, Calvin Ball, County Executive of Howard County, Maryland, do hereby proclaim November 28th, 2025, World War II veteran Leggio J. Sassi Day in Howard County, Maryland. It's special.
Before I conclude with the remarks that I wrote that reflect back to 80 years ago, I would like to ask Consul General Monvoison to return to the podium and talk about this.
Mr. Sassi, this is the official diploma of the Legion of Honor, signed by the highest authority at the chancellerie de la Légion d'honneur. I don't know how it translates to English. It's very complicated.
Thank you, Consul General. So we're coming to the finish line. Yay. Now, I tell you, I have seen many of these programs in France. And when I witnessed them there, I said, I need to do something different here in front of family and friends. Most veterans, when they receive this medal in France, they have very few family members with them. So I'm so happy that we can do this in front of your family, your friends, and everybody that loves you. Back in the day when I delivered my hometown local newspaper to about 50 homes on my street, little did I know I was surrounded by World War II veterans. As a little kid of about 10, I had only known that my great uncle, Izzy Isber, whose brother Alman was killed on the beaches of Normandy, served in the United States Navy. As I got older and a lot more interested in World War II, I learned from men like my great uncle Izzy, fellows just like Lee Sassi, that freedom isn't free. You have to earn it. You have to protect it. And when it's been taken away, you have to fight to win it back. Following the surrender ceremony on the deck of the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay on September the 2nd, 1945, General MacArthur talked to the radio and addressed our nation. In his remarks, he reflected upon the service of millions of men just like Lee and exclaimed, "My fellow countrymen, today I report to you your sons and daughters have served you well and faithfully with a calm, deliberate, and determined fighting spirit. They are homeward bound. Take care of them." Indeed, by this time 80 years ago, the world was on its way to returning to normal with thousands of those soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen returning home every single day. Home. To begin the rebuilding the world in which we are blessed to live in today. And that took time. And with that, opportunities for every citizen across every spectrum of society improved. But there was still a long way to go. Armed with those characteristics that General MacArthur alluded to in his radio address, characteristics which were forged in the crucible of war. Through advancements in technology and science, that generation, which we call in our time the greatest generation, applied both triumphs and tragedies to the cause of the greater good for all mankind, friend and foe alike. Men like Lee Sassi and Al Bucci, and all those mentioned and remembered in silence throughout our program today, laid the foundation for all of us to build a better world. Fellas, Al, Lee, I believe that I can unequivocally say that everyone in this room values their liberty and freedom preserved by your heroism. We thank you, the liberty-loving people of the world thank you. And the enduring bond of friendship between France and the United States will be forever in your debt. May God bless you. At this time, I'd like to turn the program back to our host, VFW Post Commander, Jeffrey Kelly. Jeff retired from the United States Navy after serving for 20 years. And he's been only the commander here for 6 months, but from the first time about this event that we spoke, he welcomed me aboard. So I thank you, Jeff, as well as all your members here, including Tim Ruland, who is recovering from a medical issue at home, who could not be with us today. Mike Zansky, thank you for connecting me with the SPV Club and the Raider Battalion from Appleton High School. I knew I'd get it. And media specialist Chris Ferrier, who made all this day possible. Thank you for everyone.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Sir Sassi, on behalf of Post VFW Post 7472, we offer you a very heartfelt congratulations and thank you for all you did. The VFW has got you a legacy life membership, so your name is on the plaque in the canteen out there, along with your picture to join the others that are out there. So just our small way of saying thank you. I don't think it's been said enough. Thank you to Eric for how much he did for the ceremony. Lastly, thank you to all of you for being here to witness this. What a true honor it was once again to be here. We have light refreshments in the back, and through those doors is the little cash bar if you'd like something stronger than tequila. So thank you once again for being here, and enjoy your day.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to take some pictures with all the principal presenters right now, but please enjoy the refreshments in the back of the room. Commander said if you want something a little stronger, I'd go back. Thank you.